One, it's Sharon here. And um, as you may know, I offer a free power healing meditation call each month and a free transfiguration call. And both are really silent activities in the main. So I give about 10 minutes there's about 10 minutes of talking and 20 minutes of transfiguration and or meditation. And a question that I still get asked fairly often is about how to deal with distractions. So I thought I would compile my top tips for staying focused during meditation and transfiguration. So they apply to both, even though they're quite different in application. So my first tip about dealing with distractions. Now, distractions can be either internal, meaning your own thoughts, or external, meaning noises or disturbances in your environment. And so the first tip is really preparing. Prepare yourself for your meditation or transfiguration session. Now, especially in the world of Zoom calls these days, I know it's quite tempting. You get a reminder, the call is starting, you're doing other things. It's 6:59 and you turn the computer on and you're suddenly there and you're supposedly ready for meditation. And I think it's because we sort of do so many things online now that we kind of can switch in and out of things very quickly. But with meditation and transfiguration, my first suggestion is to sort of allow yourself some time to prepare yourself to go into meditation and transfiguration. It's a sacred space. It's a beautiful space and it's a restful space. And if we're sort of really busy beforehand, if we've got a lot of things on our mind, it's not that easy to kind of switch channels and just switch everything off. So just prepare maybe your environment, try and find a place that is going to have less distractions if you can. Allow yourself a few moments to get a bit more peaceful within yourself, to let go of any stresses in the day. And I can give an example of this, and that is that when I first learnt meditation, I learnt through transcendental meditation, and I went through a bit of a difficult period with it. And I think partially it was because I just tried to sort of just sit down and do meditation as if it was another activity. And so I went on a TM weekend. And on that weekend, they gave us a 20-minute light yoga routine to do prior to sitting in meditation. And they also gave us some pranayama to practice, so some breathing techniques. And this really helped me. And what I noticed, and this is what I'm moving on to, is what I noticed is that movement and or breathing, sometimes both is really good, but you can do either or. Breathing and movement, both involve the body, and actually preparing the body for meditation can be really, really useful. Often you'll have meditation at the end of a yoga class. Well, you've prepared yourself for that meditative state through yoga. So you don't have to do anything long or difficult, but just preparing the mind, body, and spirit to come together in a restful place often really has a great effect. Like I say, it doesn't have to be strenuous or anything like that. You don't have to do upward, downward dog or anything 50 million times, but just like a little bit of stretching, relaxing, getting the body into a comfortable position. And pranayama, breathing. There's many different breathing techniques that you can use. The key thing is that your breathing isn't shallow. It's not up in your chest. Diaphragmic breathing or abdominal breathing or any kind of breathing that brings the body into a state of relaxation. When we chest breathe, when we breathe from the upper part of our body, that kind of infers that we're not safe. It doesn't feel safe to the body. It thinks we need, we're in trouble. So it doesn't really relax. When we're stressed, our breathing is faster as well. So when we breathe slowly or we breathe deliberately or consciously, it signals to the body that we're okay to relax. And when we relax, we're okay to let go. So preparation is really a good thing if you're having difficulty with your meditation practice and with focus in your meditation practice. So having said that, if thoughts arise or there's noises outside or even within the home or within the office, wherever the space is that you are meditating or transfiguring, the key thing really here is just to accept that these noises exist. So acceptance is always the doorway to all the good stuff, as I like to say. And there's a good neurological reason as to why we accept. So you may have seen a video I did a little while back now. It's called How to Solve All Your Problems. And when you identify something as a problem, your mind, because it's there to protect you, tags memories, it tags experiences, it tags things that it considers to be a danger, it considers it to be a problem, it considers it to be a difficulty because it wants to warn you about it. If it was to occur again, it wants to be prepared. So when you label something in your own mind as a difficulty, a challenge, or a problem, your mind actually goes searching for it. It starts to look for it because it starts to look out for it so it can protect you. Now, that's really nice and sweet of the mind. But actually what it does is it goes looking for trouble. So we don't want to go looking for trouble. So instead of thinking of noises or disturbances as a problem or a difficulty, we just accept it. When you accept something, the mind doesn't have anything to do. It goes, oh, I don't need to keep you safe from something if it's okay. So the acceptance just means that if you hear a noise, you don't need to start a dialogue on it. Oh, this is a problem. Oh, this has disrupted me. Oh, how am I ever going to get back to my lovely inner silence? No, just accept it. Just know that sometimes there will be noises, sometimes there will be distractions, and there will be thoughts, and that's okay. Now, when you are distracted, and if you notice that you are distracted, well done. So, when you're off on a thought, when you follow a thought or a conversation, when you're following it, you're not aware that you're following it. So the moment that you notice that you have been distracted by a noise or by a thought or some thinking, that is the first part where you can actually say, great, I've noticed it. Now I can return to the stillness. Now I can return to the silence. If you don't notice it, then you're off on a flight of fancy. So noticing and then coming back to a place where you can go to refocus. Now, there are lots of tools to refocus in meditation and in transfiguration. So if you're meditating, there are many methods. For example, you return to a mantra. A mantra is there to create a focus. So you can return back to the mantra if you've started to have thoughts. You notice it. You have the awareness that you've gone off on a train of thought, and you return to your mantra. Your mantra is what keeps you focused back in. In my meditation technique, I have a center line that you return to. In other techniques, you may return to the heart and focus on the heart, or focus on breathing. And in transfiguration, you just return to radiating light. So we always have a focus point that we can come back to, and that helps us to return and keep us focused away from the thoughts, and kind of come back to sensation and feeling and effortlessness. So awareness is important. You're aware that you have been distracted. You accept it. There's no judgment that you have been distracted. It's quite natural to be distracted by a loud noise, so it's okay. So no judgment is required, no thought is required. You just accept it and return back to a center point. So then the question arises about thoughts and how they can be distracting. And if you have a lot of thoughts and they are quite distracting, then my tip for this is very simple. And that is, you have to practice devaluing your thoughts. It's as simple as that. You know, we have millions and millions of thoughts in any single day, in any given day. And most of them are rubbish. They're just absolutely rubbish. A lot of it is actually all meaningless as well. We put all this meaning, we have all these thoughts and things we have to do. Now, our minds are doers. Our minds like to do things. It's activity based. So if you're sitting in silence, your mind thinks, oh, I need to do this. I have to do that. Oh, I didn't do that. I should say this. I didn't say that. How am I going to do this? How shouldn't I do that? It's a doer. So of course the mind will be thinking about things it wants to do. But meditation and transfiguration is a sacred space. And it's not a doing space, it's a being space. So the mind is a doer, the soul, the spirit is a beer. It's a being space. And so we have to devalue all these thoughts that we have. You know, in society, especially in the social media era, everyone seems to think that every thought they have is valid. Every thought they have is gold. And that's just a lie that social media has created. Everything you think of is not gold. Everything you think of does not deserve a medal, nor does it deserve to be followed. So you can follow as many thoughts as you want outside of the meditation space, outside of the transfiguration space, but you have to devalue the idea that any thought you have needs to be followed. And so, you know, I often will sit in meditation and a thought will come up and I'll just say to myself, thank you very much, mind, but can you shush, please? This is not the time and the space for that. You know, this is not the time and the space for that. I'll pick this up at the end of the meditation. Because the mind just wants to always be in charge. So we have to change the power within our mind, body, spirit system. And, you know, the power system actually works with body doesn't have a lot of power. It's very intelligent. It doesn't have a lot of power. The mind is more powerful than the body and spirit is more powerful than the mind. Therefore, we don't have to listen to our minds all the time. It's not the most powerful. It's not the cleverest. It's not got all the answers. And so it's about recognizing that our spirit needs space to express itself, to be itself. And that is actually our most powerful part of ourselves. So we devalue the idea that the mind has all the answers, must be followed at all costs. And we just say, yeah, not right now. Thanks, mind, but not right now. So devaluing that. And then the final part of that is just that recognition that meditation and transfiguration are not mind activities. The mind is not required for this. It's spirit-based. It's soul-based. It is love-based. These are not the areas of the mind. The mind doesn't understand it. It doesn't know it. It's not its wheelhouse and it's not supposed to be. Therefore, the mind is just not required. You know, the mind wants to get involved with everything because it thinks it knows everything. But the being space is purely that. It's beingness. Beingness requires no activity. It requires no thought. And therefore, it has no place in it. You know, the reason we sit in silence, and that silence is internal, not external. So it's okay if there's noises outside. That silence is an internal silence. That is an internal stillness. And the reason for that is beingness doesn't have any activity. It's not a judgment that silence is better than talking or thinking or whatever. it's not part of it. It's not a part of it. So therefore it's not required. Beingness is just pure beingness, and it's peaceful, it's effortless, it's loving, it's joyous, it's blissful. Nothing else is required. And thoughts only obscure that. That's why, you know, meditation is considered to be like no thoughts, or to stopping thoughts. It's not about stopping thoughts, it's that thoughts have no place there, have no relevance there, has no job to do, no function. So transfiguration is the same. Transfiguration is a return to our true self, and it's a healing in terms of helping other beings, whether that be nature, animals, other people, the world, the universe, return to its true nature. True nature is a beingness, it's not a doingness. So when we are in transfiguration, we too are silent. There is no need for words, there is no need for action. We're not directing the light anywhere. We are not sending the light. These are all activity words. We are just being the light, radiating the light effortlessly. So these are being states. And we are really not very good as human beings at this beingness. We're always trying to fill this beautiful silence and stillness with thoughts and words and ideas and concepts. It's not required. So, those are my top tips. I hope you find them helpful. And I also hope to see you on one of my uh, power healing meditation and or transfiguration calls. Thanks.